Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead. Aherne. Today's top stories: Waterford's Mary Butler starting her first day in her new job as Minister of State. One new case of coronavirus has been confirmed in Waterford. The Mayor of Waterford says a house party attended by over 60 teenagers was grossly irresponsible. And in sport, Liverpool play their first game later since becoming Premier League champions. Waterford Minister of State Mary Butler says she's concerned by the number of young people admitted to adult mental health units last year. The Fianna Fáil TD was yesterday named as the Junior Minister for Mental Health and Older People. It comes as the annual report of the Mental Health Commission shows that 54 children or young people were placed in adult units in 2019. Deputy Butler told Damien Tiernan on Daisha today that she'll be briefed on that report today and she will be asking questions.
What capacity have we throughout the whole country in relation to adult, in relation to adolescent? I'm very conscious of that. One child going into an adult facility is one child too many. So 54 is very worrying.
Unannounced inspections were carried out at 60 approved centres last year. The Department of Psychiatry in Waterford was ranked in the bottom 5. The report found the unit had 67% compliance with regulations, down from 73% in 2018 and 77% in 2017. However, it also says conditions previously imposed by the Commission were removed last year due to compliance with regulations. Deputy Butler says she'll be pursuing plans to upgrade the facility in Waterford.
The Department of Psychiatry in Waterford, whereas the staff are fantastic, the facilities out there are appalling. It had been agreed 6 years ago. Myself and former spokesperson James Brown met with the Minister when this broke, and there had been agreement 6 years ago to build a standalone facility for Waterford and Wexford, so I'll be certainly pursuing that.
Micheál Martin's facing further unrest from senior TDs who've been overlooked for a ministerial role. Limerick TD Willie O'D is the latest to criticise the Taoiseach's appointments. He joins Michael Moynihan, who told C103 FM that he'd be a thorn in the side for the government. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe.
Micheál Martin's ministerial appointments are continuing to cause upset in the Fianna Fáil ranks, while some who were overlooked for cabinet, like Thomas Byrne and Anne Rabbitte, got junior ministerial roles yesterday. Other frontbench TDs did not. Cork TD Michael Moynihan has said being passed over was an insult to him and his area. The chief whip for Fianna Fáil in the last stall was very disappointed to be left out.
I have worked extremely hard for 23 years and I'm going to continue to it. And this is probably driven me the last 12 or 14 hours, has driven me harder by the response that I've got to, and I will be a thorn on the side of the government.
While Limerick City TD Willie O'D has also criticised the appointments. He said he was disappointed to be left out and that it's an insult to Limerick City that they don't have a junior minister. 2 Limerick County TDs did get Ministries of State in Niall Collins and Patrick O'Donovan. Meanwhile, Sinn Féin will announce its new front bench this afternoon. Expect to see prominent roles for women and TDs from the west of Ireland as they seek to put salt in the wounds of those unhappy with the government's appointments.
A Waterford councillor says it's worrying that the National Parks and Wildlife Service is coming under the remit of the Department of Housing. Environmental groups are calling for the plans to be halted immediately. Independent councillor Joe Conway says he'd prefer to see them in separate departments.
The National Parks and Wildlife Service is going to come under the aegis of the Department of Housing, and I think we all accept that housing is a great national priority, but so too is nature and our environment. And sometimes the needs of housing come into conflict with the needs of the environment, and I think that's why I would much prefer to see those separations of duties and responsibilities in a separate department of environment, away completely from the Minister and the infrastructure of the Department of Housing.
One new case of coronavirus has been confirmed in Waterford. The figures released up until midnight on Monday show a total of 158 cases since the outbreak began. It's the second new case in less than a week. The Mayor of Waterford says there should be penalties for the organisers of large house parties. It's after video footage emerged of 60 teenagers leaving a house in Templars Hall on Saturday evening. Fine Gael's Damien Geoghegan told WLR's Damien Tiernan that the Gardaí deserve credit for dealing with the situation.
There should be penalties involved for the organisers of such parties and such gatherings, especially when they're obviously not family gatherings. They're obviously not people who are part of the same circle, as it were. I mean, that was a group of people who would have come from quite different parts of Waterford to a house party, and that to me is unacceptable, and fair play to the guards for dealing with it as they did.
A County Waterford supermarket has issued a statement confirming that none of their staff have COVID-19. It's after false rumours began circulating in recent days. A spokesperson for Eurospar, Abby Side, has confirmed to WLR News that none of their staff currently have or are showing symptoms of the virus. They say that their focus remains on providing an essential, high-quality service to the local community while ensuring the health and well-being of their valued staff. The largest teaching union in the country says it'll be holding the Education Minister to her commitment of a safe return to school. New guidance from the Department of Education says some but not all students will need to socially distance in class, as Casey O'Riordan reports.
Schools are warning that new social distancing guidelines could prevent them from fully reopening in September. New government guidance says students from 3rd class in primary school up to 6th year in secondary school will need to adhere to some level of social distancing, while social distancing won't be essential for children in the first 4 years of schooling. The Association of Secondary Teachers says it's concerned that schools with over 1,000 students will struggle to find space and may need a mix of remote and in-class lessons. General Secretary is Ciarán Christie.
The objective is to get as many people back safely. And I would point out that the Minister in her statement yesterday evening stated that she was committed to a safe return to schools, and we'll be holding her to that.
Tánaiste Leo Varadkar believes a full reopening of schools will be possible.
But I am confident that we will be able to manage a full reopening of schools and colleges in the autumn. But that has to be tempered, obviously, by the fact that there's always a possibility that the virus might come back.
The INTO has warned that larger classes may need to be split and additional teachers hired in order to adhere to social distancing.
4 retailers in Waterford have been given grants to expand their stores online. They're among 183 successful applicants who will share the €6.5 million COVID-19 online scheme. The Waterford stores are Best Tile on the 6 Crossroads, Ardkeen Superstores, Fitzgerald's Menswear and the Book Centre. Julie Cinnamon, CEO of Enterprise Ireland, explains what the scheme was looking to achieve.
Well, really what we were looking for was applications from retailers who were committed to moving online. So it was the quality of their plan to go online and how well developed that plan was and how serious that plan was. And we had quite a rigorous process for a number of different independent people assessed those plans separately, and then we brought them all together to try to make sure that we were giving everybody a really fair trip.
The number of new cars sold in Waterford so far this year is down by 42% when compared to last year. 1,287 new cars left forecourts in Waterford in the first 6 months of the year compared to 2,246 in 2019. However, there's been an increase in demand for second-hand cars since COVID restrictions have been lifted. That's according to Derek Jordan, owner of Martin Barrett Motors in Waterford. He says there's good movement in the market.
Well, we came back the 18th of May and we suppose, like everybody else, we didn't know what we were coming back to. The used car market is flying. We thought for the first few weeks that it was probably a case of a pent-up demand, but the demand has remained really consistent. We find that people, instead of probably going on holidays or spending money elsewhere or going abroad, are now putting money into cars, which has been good for us. It's been very, very good since we got back.
And the Theatre Royal in Waterford's confirmed that performances will return from August 13th with online booking available from today. The theatre's had to drastically reduce seat numbers. However, they've a full programme for the summer, kicking off with the Pat Kinnivan play Before. Manager of the theatre, Mary Boland, says a lot of work has gone into opening the doors on that date.
People will have the opportunity to come in and book tickets or even ask questions about what seating might look like in here now. We have a lot of programme confirmed. We are kicking off with Pat Kinnivan's Before. We have Norma Sheehan, the comedian, in. We have Phelim Drew and his Ronnie Drew band, Rob Strong, Brian Kennedy. We also have the Harvest Festival coming in here in September. We have comedy with Dirtbirds and Enya Martin also. A full list of activity, and we're absolutely thrilled.
Sports News on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
And a very good afternoon from the sports desk. I am Nigel Kelly. We will start with the Premier League, where Spurs have been given a very slim chance of qualifying for the Champions League, with Chelsea and Leicester dropping points last night. The Londoners can move to within 4 points of 5th place Man United in the Premier League later. That's if they can win away to Sheffield United. But Spurs boss Jose Mourinho isn't thinking about a top 4 finish.
I don't think the best way is to look at matches with this perspective of table must win. It's a match that we want to win and is a match that we go there to win. But they are also fighting for European positions, and I'm pretty sure that is not going to be easy.
That game kicks off at 6 o'clock, and also tonight the top two clash as the newly crowned champions Liverpool play away against last year's champions Man City. It's a 8:15 kickoff at the Etihad Stadium. In racing, there's an 8-race card at Bellewstown which got underway 10 minutes ago. In Sligo, the first of 7 race card goes to post at 4:10. In golf, Waterford Seamus Power returns to the PGA Tour action this evening when he tees off for his first round of the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. It'll be his first PGA Tour event since the Puerto Rico Open back in February, pre-COVID, and he gets out on the course at about 5:20 Irish time. And in boxing, Katie Taylor is close to agreeing a long-awaited rematch with Delphine Persoon for next month. Taylor beat the Belgian in a controversial points decision in June of last year. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.